The reason why is because there's only two possibilities when you do something new. When you do something, you feel fear. You're like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do it anyway. There's only two outcomes. Number one is you succeed. You do it right the first time. Number two is you grow. You learn and you actually become the kind of leader who goes out there and shows up and learns from that experience and becomes even better. What would life look like if all you could do are the things that you've been able to succeed at in the past? It would suck. You wouldn't be able to do new things. You wouldn't be able to step into a new role. You wouldn't be able to take that promotion. You wouldn't be able to help that person in a way you've never helped them before. And when we think about that, like if we're stuck in the past, it feels kind of like, like that's, I don't want to be stuck in the past. I want to like literally create an amazing, incredible future, which is me helping a ton of other people get through this exact same thing, probably that I'm struggling with right now, right? And when you think about these two options for when you do something, number one, you succeed. Well, a lot of times when you succeed, I know for me, like, I don't know if I just did it by accident. I don't know if it was a fluke and maybe the next time, but I don't actually learn a lot from that. It's over here, the things that I grow through, the things that I learn, the things that I develop. That's actually the things that like I help people with. And that's actually what people pay me for. They pay me for these things that are the things that I struggle with. Like you looked on that screen before where I was unconfident. I was really just an angry person. I was a negative person. I was that person who was like, just could bring down the whole entire room. I was unhealthy. And what happened is I was willing to get out there. I was willing to try things and I was willing to find things that worked. And as a matter of fact, now people come to me and they relate to me because they're like, Mark, I was just like you. I could not give a presentation. Like my palms would get sweaty whenever my supervisor would come to me and ask if I could give a presentation in front of somebody, right? And so realizing that you can go from that to that is a game changer because you don't have to wait for you to have done it before. All you have to realize is there's only two outcomes. Either I succeed or I grow. Now, self-confidence 101. So your self-confidence 101 is it's your ability to trust yourself, knowing that you will do what you said you would. Every time we say we're going to do something and then we show up and we do it, it's a checkbox in the self-confidence building arena, all right? Every time you're like, I'm going to do this and you do it, check it, check, check. Every time that you have this feeling of fear and you do it anyway, it's a huge check in the box of self-confidence. So self-confidence doesn't come from the fact that you've done things in the past. Self-confidence comes from you saying, you know what, I'm going to do this, and then going out there, trusting yourself and doing it. And guys, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up. I remember this was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I was inside of this training. It was like mobile field force training for LAPD. And there were 60 other people in the room. A majority of them were sergeants. And there was like one lieutenant. When we got to the end, they were going to put us into like a situation where we had to, move a line and have it be back to back to back to back by all of these other kind of like mobile field force configurations. And what they said is, they said, okay, we need somebody to be in charge of the entire platoon. Now, normally that's a captain. A captain does that. I was a sergeant at the time. There was a lieutenant. And I look around and nobody's raising their hand. And I'm like, I'd like to do it. And it was crazy because everybody turned around and looked at me because I'm with the other sergeants. They're like, you're going to do it? And I'm like, yes, I'll do it. I can't tell you that experience, how much I grew by actually being willing to step up and do that. I actually got an email from one of the command staff that was in that training who was like, I was so impressed by not only your ability of raising your hand when you're uncomfortable, but going out there and learning so much in that process. Guys, after I got done that, I feel an entirely different level of confidence when I put on the line, because I'm like, I can run this thing. It's just an entirely different thing. But I had to be willing to step out and to do it over time. And every time I do that, it's a check mark. Even if in that training, I would have screwed up, I would have messed up, it would have still been what I needed to do to learn and to grow. So that is how you can build the confidence, all right? Now, when it comes to self-confidence, you have to know that any experience that you can, basically the reason why we don't want to put ourselves out there is because we don't want to feel a certain emotion if we were to make a mistake. We don't want to feel like humiliated or shame or fear or like, what are people going to think? All of those things trap us, and I'll explain in a minute why they trap us. They trap us into living in the past. If I've never done this before, like I can't do this, right? Instead, we've got to realize like, hey, you know what? By going out here and being willing to feel the fear, being willing to feel like, hey, maybe people will make jokes. By the way, if you're in the police field, you're in the criminal justice world, you know that people are going to make jokes, and it's a sign of like endearment. At least I hope it is. At least it is at LAPD, where you're like, you know what? People are going to make fun of me, but guess what? I'm not afraid of a feeling. A feeling is simply a vibration in my body. And if I can get past that and I can do it anyway, isn't this what the real leaders do? Can you imagine if the great leaders in the world, they changed their message, they stopped going out there and sharing, they stopped getting out there and feeling uncomfortable because somebody said that they shouldn't do that? Like I think of the MLKs, Mahatma Gandhi, like Mother Teresa, like, no, they're like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm compelled to do. Even though they felt that fear, they still did it anyway. So knowing that the only thing that is holding you back is a feeling, for me, gives me that power to go out there and take action. And then self-confidence comes when you've never done it before, but you're confident in yourself anyway. Think about that. What would it feel like to have never done something before, but you're confident in yourself anyway? So you do it. And you know that either you're going to do it right or you're going to grow and you're going to learn. That's how we all learn, guys. We're willing to do that.